Hello. Do we have action? Let me know if you can see me, hear me, and we will commence in a few minutes' time. Good afternoon, Mark Kinnish. Hope you're well. We'll just warm things up. Hopefully, this will be an improvement on last week. Hello to Graham Dolan. Warm welcome to you as well. Hope everybody is having a good afternoon. Let me know in the comments section below where you're from, how you're doing today. Are you having a roast dinner for your dinner later on? Certainly is cloudy and rather chilly here in good old Everton, Rossshire. We'll get going in just a second. Pouring it down here in the world, Mark. Seems to be dry at the moment here, but very grey, and that east wind, I'll tell you, that east wind was cold. Hope everybody can hear me okay. Sound quality okay? Overcast and very damp, says Graham. We have 5 concurrent viewers at the moment. Very warm welcome to you. We will get going officially in just a few minutes, just making sure that everything is A-OK before we get into the 84th edition of the Global Weather and Climate Report. Paul James, afternoon, Mark, from a cloudy Hampshire. I think there's a lot of greyness out there, actually. How's things today, Paul? How's things, Graham? Mark? You having a good afternoon so far? Enjoying your weekend? Anybody attend any sporting events over the weekend? I think we're just about to kick things off. It is pretty much bang on 1600, 4 p.m. What date are we on? The 9th, isn't it? 10th, actually. I'm behind time. Afternoon to Lisa Pattenton. Very, very warm welcome. Thanks very much for your time this afternoon, Lisa, for moderating. I do greatly appreciate that. A busy lady you are, and it's good to see you. Everybody okay? And we will kick things off. Thanks very much. Hello from Mark Fogan Weather HQ here in Everton, Rossshire, 14 miles north of Inverness, on what is a rather grey Sunday, 10th of March 2024. Welcome to the 84th edition of the Global Weather and Climate Report. Everybody appears to be kicking in. We've got a good old 7 concurrent viewers. Hit the like button, share with your friends and family, and also subscribe to the channel. It is getting to that slightly boring time of the year at the moment, in between seasons, and I suppose I'm going to start warming things up with regards to the upcoming summer 2024 forecast, and we'll see how this upcoming summer is after what was a glorious month of May, month of June, hottest June on record for the British Isles. Very, very low rainfall, plenty of sunshine. It really was glorious. Then things turned around and we had a miserable July and August, and that just continued right the way through till the end of 2023, beginning of 2024 as well. Very warm welcome to you. Thanks for taking your time out of your busy schedules to listen to my waffle once again for another Sunday afternoon. Looks as if it has been a success this time around, rather than being a delay of almost a half an hour last week. It seems to be that I've managed to nail this down. I'm hoping that the quality is okay for everybody, and we will look at some of the charts in just a wee second. But we'll go through the live chat, the live stream, and see what is taking place. Live chat, that actually is what I'm trying to say. But welcome to Paul James, welcome to John Simpson. Hi Mark, been raining all day in Nottingham. Yeah, it's been dry here, John, in up in the north of the British Isles. It has been rather monotonous, I must admit. We've had some frosty nights, but cloud cover has become a little bit more prevalent, I think, across the majority of the UK. That east wind has certainly felt rather chilly, to say the least. No beast from the east by any stretch, but a nagging cold easterly wind coming in off that 6 or 7 Celsius North Sea waters. So Mark Kinner says, Mark, I don't know what you think, but this winter has been similar to 94-95. People said don't need to worry about winter, and we ended up with a hot, dry summer in 95. Don't need to worry about water. Don't know if you mean winter or water, Mark, but yeah, I mean, when it comes to forecasting these days, I think you have to definitely take into consideration the warmer backdrop. Like I've harped on so many times, warmer water temperatures, warmer land areas, warmer atmosphere, all feeds back in itself, and it definitely is having an influence. I would be slightly surprised if we see a colder than average spring, and I also would be surprised if we have a colder than average summer overall. But the Atlantic is certainly warmer than average, and that is definitely having an influence on our temperatures overall. And Foster, hi Mark, we have had sunshine up on Dartmoor after a lot of rainfall and high winds. Yeah, it certainly has been quite unsettled, especially the further south you go over the UK. And but up here across the north, blocking has definitely provided drier than average conditions up here across the north. And the question is, do we continue with this blocking? I think we will. And I think that sudden stratospheric warming that is ongoing, those reversal in the mean zonal winds, will continue to enhance high latitude blocking through the remainder of March and into the month of April. Paul Farewell, very good afternoon to yourself, Paul. Hi, Mark. Good afternoon from a drab and grey Swindon. Yeah, it is a bit depressing, I must admit, when you've got a lot of grey conditions. You know, the days are getting longer, the nights are growing shorter, but the how often do we see this kind of pullback in weather conditions? Temperature turns colder sometimes as we go into the month of spring, especially when you've got this kind of blocky scenario. It looks as if we may actually have more in the way of southerly winds this upcoming week, which may allow the temperatures to go above average. And hopefully with a little bit of sunshine, we'll see the temperatures responding with that strengthening sun, and we'll get a bit of nice warm conditions. But I'm not overly enthusiastic about a particularly hot spring, but certainly I think we're going to see a little bit of back and forth. Hello to Robert Cantor, warm welcome to you. Incredible amount of rain down here, Mark. Rain again today, dark and miserable Mum's Day. Thank you very much, Robert. I greatly appreciate you reminding me. I did remember to wish my mum a happy Mother's Day. Wish everybody, all the mums out there, a very happy Mother's Day to you. Hope you're being spoilt, and certainly hope you enjoy your day wherever you are. To all the mums out there, happy Mother's Day once again to my mum down in Kirkintilloch. Hope you're feeling a little bit better. I know you've got a chest infection, and I hope that you will start to be on the mend soon. Lisa saying it means more flowers from mums this spring. Do you know what's interesting actually? Down in Glasgow, I noticed that the trees were starting to blossom. They were actually starting to bud. That was back at the end of February. I can't recall the last time I've seen the trees starting to kind of blossom as early as February. I could be wrong with that, and I'm sure it's not the earliest ever recorded or anything like that. But certainly, nonetheless, very interesting how early we're starting to see growth. I do know our friend Richard Trott down in Yorkshire had been cutting his grass. I think it was last weekend. I haven't got to that stage yet, I must admit, but certainly very early growth this year compared to previous years. And Paul James says, my daffodils are all in full bloom since last Monday. Certainly up here across the far north, the trees are still firmly bare. We've not got any early daffodils up here across the far north. But certainly further south, where we've had the warmer temperatures, you've definitely seen the growth come out pretty early. 23 concurrent viewers. Help those numbers boost, folks, by sharing with your friends and family. Like, share the love, show YouTube and myself that you're enjoying the content here on YouTube. Extreme Lemon, warm welcome to you. Southern Alps in Italy got 2 meters of fresh snow. Saw some amazing photographs. Yeah, we're seeing some weird and wacky weather. Extreme warmth in some places, extreme cold in other places. For example, parts of the Tibet plateau recording some remarkable cold temperatures, meters of snow, and other places are seeing astonishing record warmth. Gav's Weather Vids, a very warm welcome to Mr. Gavin Partridge. He is in the house. Thanks, Gavin, for tuning in. I greatly appreciate that. Share the love of Gavin's channel as well. I know he'll be streaming at 6 p.m. this evening. Do check him out for terrific weather analysis, tremendous weather brain, and do certainly check Gavin out. Adam Blunsden, warm welcome to you. Hi everyone, and hi Mark Vogan. I think it's going to be a hot summer this year. I certainly would not be ruling out the potential of some record-breaking warm temperatures. Even the springtime, by the way, we could see some surges of big heat. We've got drought across parts of Spain at the moment. That could help with the warm sea surface temperatures over the western Mediterranean and off the west coast of Portugal. That may allow the Azores high pressure to become a little bit stronger than it typically would be. Certainly was quite reluctant to budge during the course of the winter season, and we may see some of these Spanish plumes this upcoming summer season. Warm welcome to Graham Dolan. If I do repeat myself, I do apologise for that. Let me know in the comment section below where you're viewing from. Are you up to much this Sunday afternoon, this rather grey, dull Sunday afternoon? I wish the sun was shining, but unfortunately it isn't. I think it's leaden skies for many places across the land today on what is Mothering Sunday 2024. So we're 13 minutes into the live stream. Very warm welcome. There's 27 concurrent viewers. Hit that like button, share the love, help the algorithm. That's a big word for myself, but help boost the numbers if you can. I would greatly appreciate it. It's getting to that time of the year now where a lot of people kind of dropping off. Winter is over, so to speak, but still wouldn't be surprised the end of March, early April with that block to the north can try and draw some of that cold off Central Asia right the way across the continent of Europe and try and bring something a little bit chillier into the UK if you like wintry conditions during the course of March, April, and then we can try and boost the temperatures up, get the shorts and t-shirt weather in place and enjoy some barbecue weather. That certainly would be nice after what has been a long winter. So a warm welcome to everybody. Let me see what everybody is saying. Free Palestine says, hi Mark, it's been a very strange winter and some SSWs, but not having that much influence on the troposphere. I think this one might do so. Yeah, it looks as if we've had about at least 3, possibly 4 sun-stratospheric warmings, whether you define it as the major or not, but certainly we had a lot of pressure put on the polar vortex this year. And I've said in recent times we've had this influence of El Nino, especially mid to late winter. And I think there's a real battle going on between the tropics and what's going on within the stratosphere over the Arctic region as well. Said in recent videos as well, by the way, the strong warming taking place within the stratosphere over the Arctic has actually been cooling the stratosphere over the tropics, which is rather interesting. How much significance that has, I don't really know, to be honest with you. But nonetheless, we're seeing some very interesting things going on at the moment. But it's typical. We struggle to get the blocking at the key parts of the winter season, and as per usual, we get the strongest of blocking taking place when the temperatures are supposed to be warming up. Damp, been very damp and gloomy here today, like a November's day, says Gavin. Yeah, I think it's really across the board. Actually, this grey conditions that we've got at the moment. Area of low pressure just at the south of the UK, spreading some heavy rainfall northwards. Anne Foster says that in terms of rainfall for February up here in on the Dartmoor area of southwestern England, the average is usually 150 millimeters. This year it was 650 millimeters. We really need the sun as we're coming up to the lambing season. Yeah, this can be a very challenging time actually for a lot of people, but also those farmers, those hard working men and women out there that got to take my hat off to them, by the way. But that is a hard job, and there's probably quite little appreciation for what they do. But we want to say thank you to them for the hard work that they're doing. A very warm welcome to Matthew Orchard. Thanks for tuning in, Matthew. I greatly appreciate that, by the way. What you up to today? I hope you're well. So let me see. Paul James says 9 Celsius here. I don't actually know what the temperature is here at the house this afternoon, but it's been kept at bay. We had a 13 Celsius a few days ago, but the temperature has come down, especially with the southeasterly wind kicking in, really bringing the temperature down. Callum Potter, very warm welcome to you. I possibly said hello to you already. I don't know, but if I haven't, a warm welcome to Callum. Robert Cantor says, as a gardener, really do need some drier and warmer weather now. This current SSW, can you see any chance of blocking to enable that, Mark? I definitely see, Robert, I definitely see some continuation of blocking as we go forward for sure. And blocking actually can be a funny thing. It can deliver cold, but it also can promote warmer than average temperatures as well. And I've really been back and forth with regards to the ideas warmer than average versus colder than average. It could go either way, especially with the warm sea surface temperatures and what type of atmospheric response we see to that block to the north. Now, northerly blocking can deliver some bitterly cold air, but also when you've not got cold air over Europe, it can be quite the opposite, in fact. And with a south or southeasterly wind, if you've got warm air in place, you can actually have the opposite response to what you would see, 2013, 2018 at the beginning of March. These are extreme events, by the way, that are really hard to come by. And I think the assumption sometimes is that these events should be more common. They're actually not. They're actually quite a rare event, really. And I'm going to be very curious to see how this overall pattern develops as we go towards the warmer time of the year. So into April, into May, do we have drier than average conditions? I think we are, especially across the northern half of the UK, but certainly across southern Europe and also across southern UK. I think we're going to see potentially wetter than average conditions where that block has set up here. So continue to quickly look through the live chat here, making sure that I've not missed anybody out. Then we're going to have a look at the global picture because obviously it is the global weather report, and we'll get into the charts in just a second here and see what's taking place around the world at the moment here. There's always fascinating weather going on somewhere, even if the weather is boring wherever you are. There's something going on, and I strive here in Marfogan Weather to show you the big picture, to show you what's going on in places that you wouldn't know about. Do hit the like button, share with your friends and family, and subscribe if you haven't already done so. I would greatly appreciate that, everybody. Hope all the mums are getting spoilt out there wherever you are. Let me know what the weather conditions are like. Is there anybody viewing from Europe? Is there anybody viewing from other parts of the world? It would be good to see if anybody is tuning in from another area of either Europe or the world. at the moment. So I think at the moment we'll have a little check and see what is actually taking place. We'll first and foremost look at what is going on with regards to the temperature anomaly. So this is the month to date, and this is looking at the global picture. Hope it's clear if you're viewing either on your TV, laptop, or your phone. I hope you can see as clear as possible, but you can see very, very warm conditions compared to average. Let's emphasize that point. A couple of people have said, it might be warmer than average, but it could still be minus 16 Celsius in central Greenland, for example. And that is correct, but we're talking about compared to average. And you can see here that central Greenland has astonishingly warmer than average conditions, and that is because of a lot of blocking across the north. Look at North America, quite a east-west split if you notice. Cold and average, firmly cold and average, with the core of below average across parts of British Columbia and Saskatchewan. But look across eastern Canada, we've got a very warm Ontario, warmer than average Quebec, down into the United States. But Western United States, we've seen a lot of rainfall. We've had a lot of mountain snow. This has helped the drought situation across the western side of North America. We're going to look in today's video, by the way, at the drought situation both in Canada and the United States, because that plays a big role in terms of what conditions you may find later down the road as we move towards the summer season. Looking at Asia, look at how much warmth there is from the Atlantic all the way across to the Pacific almost, where we've got warmer than average conditions here. And then with that warmer than average, with blocking across the top, we're seeing colder than average conditions trapped underneath. Look at the Kazakhstan. We do have warmer than average across the majority of Kazakhstan, but look at the Mongolia, firmly below average conditions here. China, we've seen tremendous amounts of snow, blizzard conditions, big drops in temperature. But the core of coldest conditions anywhere on the planet at the moment is actually across Central and Southern Asia. We've seen record-breaking or near record-breaking cold across northern India into Pakistan, where we've had very, very challenging conditions here in parts of Pakistan, up towards Afghanistan, Turkmenistan, and Uzbekistan. All the stands are shivering at this moment in time. Looking at Africa, you can see here that we've got largely warmer than average conditions across the African continent at the moment here. We've had some record heat across South Africa. We've also seen it across the sub-Saharan region of Africa. Northern Australia, colder than average, but we've seen some record-breaking sea surface temperatures off Sydney in recent times. I did retweet a tweet a few days ago talking about potentially the warmest sea surface temperatures on record. I think it's on record or for the time of the year. Japan has seen colder than average conditions after what has been an astonishing past 12 months in Japan, where we've seen just month after month of all-time monthly records falling. Astonishing warmth extending from last summer right the way through autumn, winter, and into the early portions of springtime. I think recent days we've seen snow in the greater Tokyo area, which is quite interesting. But look at Greenland. It really stands out. Let's have a look at the Europe and see what the month to date conditions are. So average conditions across the north, slightly warmer than average across the central belt, if you notice. But we've got below average temperatures across the bulk of England and Wales, which is quite interesting. Now down across Spain and Portugal, we've had a lot of weather moving south. Because of the block, we've had that split jet off to the west of our shores. One arm going north, one arm going south. We've had a lot of wet weather moving into Spain and Portugal, flooding conditions here as well. Look at Central Europe, that continuation of warmer than average. Big turnaround, by the way, across Scandinavia after month of cold and average conditions. Scandinavia has definitely taken a tumble, or a rise, should I say. Always managed to mess up my words at some point. It wouldn't be a Mark Vaughan video without messing it up. I do apologise for that. Let's have a look at North America specifically and see the temperature anomalies. And you can see the very standout warm east versus colder west here. And look at Greenland. very, very warm compared to average here. Let's have a look at Asia, and you can see the distinct north-south contrast. A lot of blocking across the north here. We've got the coldest air anywhere on the planet compared to average. And this is the region right here that has really been struggling recent times with big snowfalls and bitterly cold temperatures, especially with that reflective snow cover radiating any incoming solar radiation back to space. And you've got that feedback between albedo effect of the snow and clear skies. So we've got bitterly cold temperatures by nighttime across parts of northern India, Pakistan, and then, like I say, in the Central Asia. Colder than average firmly across the majority of China, apart from southern and central portions. Ongoing record warmth. We'll look at this as well in some of the tweets by both Thierry Goose and also Maximiliano Herrera. Always refer to them for global updates and what's going on. But you can certainly see colder than average conditions across quite a large area of Central Asia. Let's have a look at South America. We've had tremendous ongoing warmth, especially across parts of Paraguay, Argentina, Brazil. The effects of El Nino has been very much dominating much of South America. Cold than average conditions, parts of Patagonia, southern Chile, and but we've had this bullseye of warmer than average across central and southern Brazil for months on end now, and that has really been standing out. Let's have a look and see what's going on even in the Middle East. We've got cold and average conditions across central and eastern Iran, then into the heart of Central Asia. We've got below average conditions across parts of a large swathe of Saudi Arabia. If you notice here, Iraq, we've got the average to below average conditions, and then as you move north up towards Turkey, we've got warmer than average conditions here. So let me see if there's other parts that we can have a look at and see what's going on in a more definitive way. Let's look at New Zealand. We haven't really looked at New Zealand in quite some time, but you notice here below average conditions actually across the majority of New Zealand. So that's quite interesting to see. Let's have a look and see at Australia. You can see southern portions of Australia firmly warmer than average for the first 10 days of March. Look at the below average here up across more northern sections of this vast land area that is Australia. So let's have a look and see what's going on with regards to the Mul Oscillation. Now this is interesting, right? Because we've had the southern stratospheric warming. You can see here there's the current situation with the mean zonal wind, so firmly in negative territory. So that means the winds around the polar vortex are blowing from east to west. And I've already explained in recent videos about the influence that should have to the 500 millibar pattern with a lot of blocking developing. And I think we're going to increase that blocking potential as we go towards the second half of March into the early portions of April. We'll look at that in a bit more detail in a wee while. But you can see here the mean zonal winds below, firmly below the zero line here, and that is definitely having an influence. So if we look at the Manjulian oscillation, we've got a little bit of competing forcing going on here at the moment. We've got warm phases of the MJO, so we're in phase 4 at the moment. Notice how pronounced the MJO is. The inner circle means it's weaker. If that line is further towards the inner circle, that means it's in the null phase, which means the Madden-Julian oscillation, which is this enhanced wave of thunderstorm activity, upward motion within the tropics. When it's further away from that inner circle, it has more influence on the pattern, whether it be the mid latitudes or the high latitude pattern. So we've got it in phase 4 and 5, but it looks as if it's expected to rotate into phases 6 and possibly into phases 7. Factor that in with the southern stratospheric warming that's ongoing, and we may have a nagging chilly theme through the remainder of March and on into April as well. So there definitely continues to be this battle, this fight between the tropics and what's going on within the stratosphere. This is, by the way, the latest ECNWF weeklies for the upcoming 7-day period. Temperature anomalies, firmly colder than average across Alaska, but the majority of North America is warmer than average for the upcoming 7-day period. You see warmer than average conditions continues over Greenland. If we look at the Arctic Oscillation, you can see here that the Arctic Oscillation is still firmly in negative territory and expected to continue in negative territory. So this is the Arctic Oscillation. You can see here it's not overly negative, but it's still negative nonetheless. And the GFS ensemble is trying to take it back towards the neutral line, which is quite interesting during the second half of the month. Now, this could be in the battle between the Strat warming and also what's going on within the Madden-Julian Oscillation. That the Madden-Julian Oscillation being in warm phases may try to offset what's going on within the stratosphere, and the two are fighting it out, I think. So this is what's making it a very complicated spring overall. And also we've got the potential of the demise of the El Nino and the rise of the La Nina as well. That is also going to be a fly in the ointment. Now notice that the GFS ensemble has the North Atlantic Oscillation going back towards neutral once again, which is quite interesting. But back to the temperature anomaly chart, you can see that that Europe is warmer than average for the upcoming 7-day period. As I said, southerly winds is going to try and drive warmer than average temperatures up across the UK and Ireland through the upcoming week. Now, as we play through this loop here, by the way, this is off the CMWF weeklies. You can see here that there is a bit of a turn to something a little bit colder as we move towards the final 10 days or so of March. So this is the period between the 20th and the 27th of March, and the ECM has the temperatures going colder than average. And look at this here. It grows increasingly cold as we step out of March and step into the month of April. And this here could be the consequence of what's going on within the stratosphere. But you also have to factor in what's going on within the Madden-Julian Oscillation phases 4 and 5. Now, phases 4 and 5 is firmly warmer than average during the winter season, but as we progress into other times of the year, that can have slightly different implications. So different times of the year, these phases can have a different response to the atmosphere. So that has to get taken into consideration as well. But isn't it interesting how the model is indicating firmly below average temperatures as we move out of March and into April? And as we continue to play through the loop, this is us now edging towards early and mid-April, we still have that colder than average theme going on. Let's have a look and see about precipitation. We're fed up with the rain. Do we have a drier theme overall coming up? This is the anomaly here. So this is compared to what would be average. Upcoming 7 days, drier north, slightly wetter south. Look at here down across South and Southwestern Europe. Wetter than average, drier across the north. And that is the block to the north, sending the jet further south. And then we've got the development of low pressure down towards the Mediterranean here. That is something we want to see because obviously we're increasing the strength of the high at this time of the year across the south. So you want to get a little bit of rain into the pattern, into the soils. That will help in terms of alleviating the drought situation, I think, towards the latter spring and into the early summer time here. Because obviously the strength of the high, once we move into the summer season, really demises the chance of having rainfall, especially through the Mediterranean and southern portions of Europe overall. So we'll play through the anomaly chart here off the same model for the next several weeks, and you can see the overall theme is on the dry side of things, further north, wetter across the south. And we have got a little bit of a chance of seeing wetter than average conditions moving further north across the UK for a period of time here. But look, you see the general idea, maintaining that wet south, dry north theme overall. Let's have a look at back to the global picture and back to the upper air pattern, the 500 millibar geopotential anomalies here. So let's look at the upper heights here of the same model, and we can see what the model is showing with regards to positives versus negatives. So back to upcoming week, you can see here there's the block to the north, rerouting any disturbed weather to the south here, but we have got low pressure that is throwing moisture into the southern UK, hence why we've got relatively wetter than average conditions across the south, drier across the north. You can see here that block extending anywhere from Scandinavia right the way across to the north of North America at the moment. There's a negative over Alaska. That tends to drive more Pacific air across the North American continent. Play through the loop, and you can see here that generally speaking, we maintain the block. And this is what I'm saying. This is maintaining the block through the remainder of March on into April. Hence why the model sees colder than average conditions into the month of April as well. So this is quite interesting. This is definitely the influence of the stratospheric warming continuing through the remainder of March on into April here. And you can see the negative extending all the way out to the middle portions of April here. So you've got that negative further south thanks to that block across Greenland and across the North Atlantic. So you get the overall idea. We may have a delayed spring for the UK, Ireland, and Western Europe, especially later in the month of March into the early portions of April. Looking at the temperature anomaly chart for the global picture, and you can see here that as we continue to play through the loop, you notice here North America turning colder. Look at Central and Eastern, both the United States and Canada will warm things up. Greenland remains warmer than average because of that North Atlantic block, but also Alaska's warming things up. But notice here temperatures are coming down. So not only here across the UK and Ireland that we're going to see temperatures coming down during the latter half of March into early April, but also the United States as well. If only, and I've said this many times before, if only this was the winter time, but it's sod's law, and it seems to be a theme at the moment here where we've got that Atlantic dominance mid and late winter, and then we have the block, then we have the colder pattern developing, a time of the year when you want to get out into the garden, you want to get your tender plants out, getting some UV, getting some growth. Be very careful about taking your plants out too early, I think, because we are going to see some late freezes as we go into the month of April here. So this is the period between the 24th of March, 31st of March, cold than average United States, cold than average Europe. And that is a big turnaround, by the way. Look at Northern Asia, colder than average versus a warmer than average India, Pakistan, Central Asia, China. So we've got this big turnaround expected in the temperature profile between what we've seen and what we're likely to see during mid and late month. Isn't that interesting how the weather pattern is starting to turn on its head? Let's have a look and see about the drought scenario at the moment here. So this is a tweet here by Thierry Goose showing Canada. We'll look at Canada first and then we'll look at the United States. So Thierry says drought in Canada as of February 29th, so this is going back to the end of last month, the end of winter, 71% of the country was classified as abnormally dry or in moderate to exceptional drought, including 85% of the country's agricultural landscape. Now, this does not bode well, I don't think, in terms of the temperature. Remember, dry soils does have a feedback to higher than average pressure and warmer than average temperatures. Wet soils, it can often have the opposite effect. Remember how wet July was? Look at the temperature. We struggled to get much above 30 Celsius because of the dominance of low pressure, wet ground, etc., etc. This could be very bad in terms of wildfire situation as well. Looking at the United States, I did say a wisecrack off the cuff remark about the California drought. Don't want to offend anybody. I don't have an expertise in terms of California drought. I have done a lot of study in years gone by with regards to the California climate, more about the Pacific High and the microclimates that exist, between the coast of California versus inland areas. But certainly the drought situation there doesn't appear to be really anywhere in California at this moment in time that is in drought, which is very good news. Big amounts of snow in the last week to 10 days across the California Sierra. That's going to trickle into the reservoirs, and that is going to be very good news as we move into the dry season, anywhere from the San Diego Basin an area all the way up to the San Francisco Bay Area, that is certainly going to be helpful in terms of water content here moving into the summer season. Notice here across the southwest, we've got drought conditions. Obviously, it's a naturally dry environment at the best of times, but across the north, we've got that El Nino signature here going on, where we've got quite dry conditions across the Pacific Northwest, opposite of what La Nina. You tend to have more moisture into the northwest with La Nina, and with El Nino, you tend to have more wet conditions, traditionally anyway, across more southern areas of the west with El Nino. But with La Nina developing, it looks as if we're going to have more drier than average conditions across the west. So I would expect to see California drought coming back with the development of La Nina later on in 2024. Central United States, upper Midwest, we've got firmly drier than average conditions. We've got these reds here representing very dry conditions across, particularly so north and northeastern Iowa at the moment here. But the overall Mississippi Basin, right the way down, you can see drought conditions developing. And this is going to likely promote a hot summer across the central United States. We could have a very warm summer indeed across the central United States here. May or may not try and do a bit of a summer forecast for not just the UK and Ireland and Europe, but also across the United States. I used to do one religiously every year, both winter forecast and a summer forecast, but actually US was the area that I used to actually do weather forecasting, and then I kind of turned away from that and focused more on Europe. But we'll see if time prevails this spring. I will try and do something for the United States, because I do know that there is folks that view from the United States and Canada. Looking at the latest, one of the more recent tweets here by World Climate Service here, I thought I would share this one in conjunction with La Nina. We are conscious of the time here, so I'm going to try and keep this within the kind of 45-minute window. So we'll try and round up in just a second. But the latest Concepts Ensemble has the strongest signal yet for La Nina developing next winter. 1998 and 73 are analogues for a flip from strong El Nino to strong La Nina within 1 year. 73 is a better Pacific match with the negative PDO, but the Atlantic was drastically cooler back in 1973 compared to what we have now. So this is quite interesting here. This is, I think, 1973, January of 73, El Nino developing, and then we had the flip around to the La Nina. You can see here, this is January 98. You can see a warmer Atlantic here versus a colder Central Atlantic. But look at 73, how cold the Atlantic was compared to what we have at the moment. So this is what I'm talking about, the different parameters in forecasting changes as we warm things up in the oceans and also the atmosphere. That is how some of these classic teleconnections, MJO, the Enzo region, whether it be El Nino, La Nina, or neutral conditions, the Mul Oscillation, other factors as well. What a weird winter it's been with stratospheric warmings, but yet we've had little response to those stratospheric warmings, because likely due to the strong El Nino feedback to the atmosphere here. This is how it's so difficult to forecast in this day and age, because the warmer overall environment means that the telltale signs, certain aspects would promote certain things. When the equation changes, then it makes it harder to then pinpoint what's going on. Let's have a quick tour of what's going on, extremes around the world. This is Maximiliano's page. If you haven't already done so and you're interested in global weather, you're on Twitter, follow this guy. Very, very good information put together by Maximiliano. Going on about the heat across Mexico and Central America, 46.5 Celsius at low elevations in Mexico. Outstanding warmth for this time of the year. And we're also seeing ongoing heat. Remember I was saying about Japan, all-time records falling month after month. Thailand, down in the tropics as well, has seen remarkable warmth, probably because of the Mul Oscillation being in, focusing its convection over the Pacific. That means that you've got the downward sail over the maritime continent, anywhere from northern Australia up through Indonesia, into Thailand. We've had stronger than average high pressure, less in the way of rainfall, and these heat records have just been falling left, right, and centre in southeastern Asia. Another record warm night, Bangkok, minimum of 29 Celsius. Ouch, especially when you factor in humidity in the city itself. I've been to Thailand, I've been to Bangkok, and it is one of the most stifling places anywhere on the planet. Remarkable warmth across parts of Australia. Hottest March night on record in Melbourne. A low of 26.2 Celsius was achieved here. Kind of just quickly skipping through this. So we'll also South America as well. Unbelievable heat ongoing, likely a direct consequence of the El Nino. Brutal in South America. Paraguay seeing overnight temperatures 8 nights of 30 or 34 Celsius for a minimum temperature in parts of Paraguay. Brutal stuff, indeed. Continuing to skip through here. I mentioned about the California snowfall, the drought situation. Don't want to miss out anything in particular. 9 times out of 10, by the way, I finish these videos, whether it be a live stream or a recorded video, and I always manage to forget something, and it really does grind my gears because I'm thinking I don't want to miss key things. United States looks as if it's just recorded one of its warmest winters. This is a good one here. Again, the whole climate issue, everybody's got their own opinions, but I'm just showing you what is being published by NOAA, NASA, Met Office, whatever. February 2024 in the United States was 5.40 Fahrenheit warmer than average. Third warmest February on record. Winter as a whole had an average of 37.6 Fahrenheit and an anomaly of plus 3.5. Warmest winter on record for the United States, while Alaska, the winter was actually 0.4 below average. And that is often the case when Alaska is cold on average, the lower 48 is warmer than average. This is the UK, of course. February, United Kingdom had an average temperature of 6 Celsius, 2.2 above average. Second warmest winter after 1998. Lo and behold, 97-98 was a super El Nino winter. Average precipitation was 45% above average. England was also very wet. I think it was the warmest February on record for England and Wales, if I can remember rightly. Let's continue to skip through, and then we will go into the live chat. Say a quick shout out to people who are on, and then we will round this video up for today, because I'm sure people will be wanting to get their Sunday roast in, probably into the oven now, I would imagine. Otherwise, you're going to have a late dinner. All-time record warmth across parts of Thailand at the moment. Days of 42 Celsius. Remember back last year, Thailand hit 45 Celsius, which was pretty remarkable. Globally, according to Copernicus, ECMWF, February 2024, globally, according to Copernicus, had a temperature anomaly of 0.81 Celsius above the 91 to 2020 average, and it was the hottest on record, surpassing February of 2016. Just quickly checking a couple of other things here. I'm pretty sure there was something here by Thierry Goose, if I'm right in saying here. Sorry about this, folks. And then we will round up because I have ran over my time, I think, slightly. Yeah, we'll go back into the live chat, see what folks are saying, and then we will round up. 35 concurrent viewers. Thank you, like I said already, for taking the time out of your Sunday afternoon. Paul Amos, sorry, missed the time. Hi, Mark and chat. Welcome, Paul. No problem. Better late than never. And thanks for taking the time out to tune in, Paul. Remember also that you can actually watch the stream back if you're that way inclined. If you want to play it back. Lulu McKenna says Luli McKenna. I do apologise if I'm pronouncing that wrong. Thank goodness we are back to southwesterly or westerly and southerly next week. Good riddance to the dull, damp, rubbish easterly. Yeah, it certainly has a nagging influence. Certainly. James 98, warm welcome to you perfect weather, Matthew. Very warm welcome to you, to James098. Thanks for checking out the live stream. Let me see if I've seen anybody else. Before you leave today's video, folks, be sure to like the video and let YouTube know that you are enjoying the stream. I'm sure I have missed a few folk out. I apologise for that. Yeah, let's round up. Thanks for watching. Yeah, we're on 50 minutes, and I think it's time to say cheerio. Hopefully, we'll be back next Sunday with edition 85 of the Global Weather and Climate Report. Hope you've enjoyed today's video, today's content. Have a great rest of your weekend and rest of your Sunday. Happy Mother's Day to all the mums out there. Hope you've enjoyed your day so far. Hope you're getting spoilt rotten. And I will see you again next week with the live stream. Plenty of content coming up here on Mark Vogan Weather on YouTube. We'll look at the details with regards to what's going on with the weather in our neck of the woods and across Europe also. And we'll see what takes place going forward. But I will be building the summer forecast as well in the coming weeks as well. So do check that out. We will be talking about some of the parameters that we'll look at. Is it going to be a hot summer? Is it going to be a wet summer again? Only time will tell. A big thank you to Lisa Pattenden for the moderation today. Thanks for taking the time out of your busy schedule as well, Lisa. So hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of your day, everybody, and I'll see you again next Sunday with more live streams. Bye for now.